breath in our lungs, beating our hearts. Lift up your voice, you got something to say. It's a brand new day. 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 When the rain falls, when the ground shakes, when the wind blows, when your heart breaks, and the sorrow, and the laughter, and the starlight, love is ever after. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Breath in our lungs, beating our hearts. Lift up the music, got something to say. It's a brand new day. 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 See the sunrise, oh, oh, fire in your eyes, oh, oh, mercy new, don't miss the way it shines. It's a brand new day. Is a secret through the thunder. There's a storm, but you're not going under. It's a brand new day. 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 made me to my own device. I never had to compromise. The city is like a jungle, gotta make it mine. Put my fears right out of sight. Beat the hustle, better get it right. In a game where the strong survive. Only the strong survive. Your chains will not hold me down. The break and fall to the ground. Can't tame these lions inside. The power is raining like thunder, ready for a fight. These lions inside. These lions inside. These lions inside. These lions inside. I had to learn to be the hero. I started on a heaven zero. In a city like a jungle, I had to get mine. Never give, you gotta take. Be the catapult to storm the gates. Cause the champion is never giving in. See you through till the end of days. Till the end of days. Your chains will not hold me down. The break and fall to the ground. Can't tame these lions inside. The power is raining like thunder, ready for a fight. These lions inside. These lions inside. Can't tame these lions inside. Can't tame these lions inside. The ground that they're walking ain't cutting through their skin. They're hunting down their prey to the bitter end. The ground that they're walking ain't cutting through their skin. They're hunting down their prey to the bitter end. The ground that they're walking ain't cutting through their skin. They're hunting down their prey. Let the games begin. Your chains will not hold me down. The break and fall to the ground. Can't tame these lions inside. The power is raining like thunder, ready for a fight. These lions inside. These lions inside.
Yo! Wait! Whoa! It's you, Patrick. You're here. Oh,
I'm
I
back.
missed you.
I'm back. I'm back.
Missed you.
I'm back, man.
How's it going, everyone? Happy Saturday, Patrick. Thanks for being here. It's amazing. Everyone's been asking about you.
I'm back.
The people have missed you, and the people have spoken. I brought Patrick back out of the basement. I let him be back on the YouTubes. Patrick was put in a timeout,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I was raising too much. I was causing too many problems.
Yeah,
we got
yeah.
some.
You're-
I was in YouTube jail.
according to Robin, it's your reign of terror, and that puts you in a
It's my
timeout.
reign of terror.
Yes. Oh, Leslie. Hashtag I watch Patrick. Well, nobody watched Patrick for a little bit.
For a little bit, for a couple of weeks. All right, man.
Yeah. All right.
Thank
So
you. Yeah.
one other thing, real quick. Also, it's Chatmaster C's birthday today. So everyone, tell her happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Chatmaster
Happy
C.
birthday.
Yes. So she's 1 year younger now. So that's how it works. It goes backwards. So I think she's like 23, 22, 23.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought
Yeah,
it was
somewhere
22.
around there.
I thought it was 22.
Somewhere. It goes by so fast, I forget. And Stina, thank you so much for the super chat. So she sent in a member question and we helped her out. So Stina, important question for you. Can we show that Power BI desktop file? I just emailed you asking if we can show it. If not, we'll skip it. If we can, we'll show it. But just wanted to check that first. And Donald, thank you for the super chat. Happy birthday to Chatmaster C. Stina said it's clean. We can show it, so we're good. We're good. All right. Patrick was worried. I'm like, we got to remember to ask that when people send us samples. Like, is that okay to show? No, Patrick's not the new co-pilot. That's always going to be Mr. Alex Powers. So, all right. Yes. All right. Oh, Mim's in the chat too. Mim, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing?
Tom coming in with a happy birthday for Chatmaster C. Same with Jason. Thank you so much. Wow, looks like Crystal's getting paid today. Oh. Oh, awesome. All right. If you are new to the live stream or GuyaNaCube in general, put hashtag new in the chat. We always love seeing the new faces. Just want to say hi and thank you for being here. Thomas is a new fabric rookie. Aren't we all? Oh, Stina, I'm doing more than that. We're doing a little getaway for the weekend. Right after this live stream, we're gonna go get some lunch. We're staying down in the Woodlands. I booked a hotel, so we're just gonna get away for a night and just try and relax a little bit. It'll be nice. And then shout out to the members of GuyaNaCube. You help us do what we do here on the channel, so thank you so much for that. Mark coming in with a super chat. Thank you so much. If you see folks with the green name or the icon next to their name, those are members of GuyaNaCube, so huge shout out to y'all. Appreciate it so much. If you want to learn more, check out the link on the screen or check out the join button down below to learn more. No commitment required. So just thank you for checking it out. And also shout out to
for Crystal.
Oh yeah, another super chat. Jessica coming in. Thank you so much.
Steaks and drinks all around for Crystal tonight. Steaks and drinks all around.
It's Crystal's choice. I don't dictate any of that. So
whatever food she wants, lobster, whatever it is.
She likes crabs and shrimp
tonight.
So that's her.
There
that's
you
her
go,
jam.
man.
That's
all
her
around,
jam.
all around.
I'm not going to eat that, but yeah. So, and shout out to some of the new members that joined while we were in the countdown. I know I saw Carrie come in, and then Ray as well. Naeem calling out that he was approaching 1 year. He's been a member for 9 months, and Sachin became a member as well. So thank you for all the support, y'all. Very much appreciated. Wow, so many super chats, so many happy birthday, Chatmaster C. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. The chat was flying a little bit, so let's go see who is new today. So we got Terrence is new. Babul the Great is new. Aldi is new. JB said new fabric rookie. Amazing. David is new. Pascal said they were new. Caro's new. Mim said he's always watched. So Mim's a lurker. That's okay. If you want to lurk, that's good too. But always love people participating and just having fun in the chat as well. Let's see here. Jake Don is
Lobster
new.
ain't cheap, man. Lobster ain't cheap.
I don't know. Yeah. There you go, Robin. Thank you. Oh, and Kevin, also thank you for the super chat. Where was I? Dotspot is new. Hi from Denmark. Hello. Shazabi is new. Sorry, sometimes I gotta go slow on the names. Robert's new. Lots of new folks here. Amazing. Matthias says he likes the earbuds. They're very cheap earbuds. They are not like magical at all. I think they were like $12. They get the job done for the live stream though. JB said how to become a GuyaNaCube member. So there's a join button. If you look on YouTube, there should be a join button. Sometimes it's dependent on the region that you're in. So just be aware of that. It may not be allowed on the region for you. So
Matthew put a link in the chat.
Okay,
Matthew
awesome. Yeah, and I'll yes. Boop. Yep. I didn't see the link from. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So yep. So go check that out if you can. Again, it may not be supported, so I appreciate you checking it out though. Sachin says he's old. Well, so am I. So not Chatmaster C though. She's young. Awesome. All right. JB said like he was new as well from the APAC region. Well, appreciate you being here and thank you everyone for joining. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Way to start the stream. Yeah, and Chitani said they were new from India. Amazing. I always love it. It's a global audience, man. I love it. All right. So rules. Let's get into rules before we get into the queue. So first up, Q colon in front of the question to get it queued up. Chatmaster C is standing by to get them queued up. Every time she clicks that button, it's just a little birthday wish when she gets that question in the queue. So put the Q colon in front of it. One time is all you need. I don't know. I was trying to roll. Yeah, it was not great. Come on, it's all right. No one said I was good with the funny, man. Christina, thank you for becoming a member. Very much appreciated.
Jeez.
I don't know. Yeah. So Q colon in front of the question. Please do not spam the question. We have a 3 strikes rule here on Guy in a Cube. One time is all you need. It gets in the queue. We don't get to all the questions during the stream, so if we don't get to yours, apologies. Come back next time. This is why you got to come early and get the question in. The early birds get the worm. And if you do spam the chat, one of our lovely Chatmaster C or one of our lovely moderators, except Patrick, will put you in a timeout. So just be aware of that. Also, because there's a bunch of new folks as well, we have a thing here on Guy in a Cube. So if the answer to the question is it depends, Patrick has to put $1 in the jar. And what this is for is at the end of the year, we'll take all of that and we'll give it to charity. So. Chatmaster C just pinged me on Teams. She's like, sorry, I missed all that. She's like, apparently someone called her like with a quote thing, so she wasn't even watching the chat. The chat exploded and wished you happy birthday, Chatmaster C. There were a ton of super chats. You got paid today. I know you complain about not getting paid, and so you got paid today. So a lot of people put it in for the lobster jar. So true story. It depends. Is Patrick's stripper name. Okay. All right. Let's.
Okay.
Yeah. Crystal, scroll up on the chat and you'll see all the happy birthdays.
All the happy birthdays.
It went nuts. All right. Let's get to the. Did I miss something? I said Q colon. Don't spam the chat. Timeout. I think that's it. All right. Also, members, hold your questions until the second half. And Chatmaster C will give you the green light. All right. Not putting whiskey in the jar. Patrick's not so much a whiskey man. He's a beer man.
I am not.
So.
I am.
All right.
Loaded up my fridge for Father's Day tomorrow.
Yeah. And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
All the dads. All the dads out there.
Chatmaster C always complains, and she's always a little miffed that her birthday always falls right next to Father's Day, and so okay.
It's all right. Her birthday's way more important than Father's Day.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. I agree. All right. So Matthew coming in with the first question. Is the rumor true that the name Fabric is actually a combination of Fabulous and Rick, as in Rick from the PM team? I'll go with that.
Oh,
I think Rick may have helped Matthew out on something, which is spawning that. So we'll go with it. I like it. Rick's a good guy. All right, Matthias, first real tech question. Let's see here. So it says, would you say that the Fabric data artists will evolve more into data engineers, or is it just a broader audience? What does that mean?
Data artists will evolve more into data engineers.
So
what I like about Fabric, and so I will admit I was a skeptical Fabric person. I was, and then I got into the fold. I got into some Fabric, and you get to choose your path. And I don't think it's that people could evolve, right? Maybe I'm just a Power BI person that's doing data sets and stuff, and then I venture down a different path and start looking at the data warehousing path, and I learn more T-SQL, or I venture down the data engineering path and I learn more Spark. So it's going to be up to you which path you take. And so for me, I know T-SQL, I know Power BI data sets. I don't have much interest in data science right now, but it did introduce me to the Spark world, and I am falling in love with some notebooks.
I like Carrie's comment.
Yeah. The artists who become note takers.
Notebooks.
I'm falling in love with these notebooks because so I'm just. It's just that person, whoever they are, they'll determine their path, and it's not that you'll go one way or the other. It's up to you.
I will add that. Look, and to be in full transparency here, in the beginning stage of this, and Patrick and I have kind of been involved with this for a long time, so we've been in a lot of discussions. And Patrick for a while was just like, I'm just a Power BI guy. Like I don't ignore all this other. I just want to do Power BI, and I'm like, well. He's like, I don't want to do Fabric. I just want to do Power BI. And I'm like, well, technically Power BI is Fabric, so you're doing Fabric, right? And he would give me the snide look and, that look right there. But I will say he's explored a little more, and now he's on board. Like he is like loving notebooks. He's figuring out Python. He's just exploring something new. And so I would say, like with Fabric, it comes with a lot of new opportunity, right? So,
I like it. I like it
because of the whole like choose your own adventure thing. It's like if you don't want to go down that path, if you just look, I'm doing Power BI, that's what I know, that's what I'm going to stick with that. You can do that, right? There's nothing wrong. You don't have to do anything else. So, but there are options there if you want to take it to the next level or explore all that. So, like, yeah. I think a lot of people will start exploring. So,
yeah. So Thomas asks, why the T-SQL perspective? Because if you go the data warehouse route, you can write store procedures. You can update. You can do.
Wait, he didn't put a Q colon in front of it. He didn't put a Q colon.
It's just going with this question.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
And so if you stay tuned, there's going to be some I'm working on these patterns for the data warehouse to dynamically load your data warehouse. It's going to be data driven. So stay tuned. It's really interesting on what can happen. So a side camera.
Matthew did that in the stream where he had a second camera. And so like when he gave like the look, it was like a,
he switched. He switched. Adam keeps telling me I need to get another camera. Adam keeps saying I need another camera.
Patrick keeps saying no way. All right. Let's see here. Oscar's got a question. So background operations on a P1 capacity are smoothed over a 24-hour period to calculate capacity utilization. For Fabric capacities that are paused and resumed, then how would this work? So that's a good question. I'm going to speculate here. So I don't want to say like this is the answer, because some of this is we're still trying to, even on Patrick's and I side, we're still trying to learn some of these things because everything's new. Honestly, I would look at the Power BI embedded SKUs because it's going to be kind of the same thing, right? Because that was an Azure SKU that you could pause. I still think it's over a 24-hour period. And so even if you pause it, I think that 24-hour clock is still, it's a sliding window. So I don't think the pausing really comes into that. That's my speculation on that. So
we don't know for sure.
We don't know for sure. Don't
definitive. Yeah.
We should test that and see what's going on, and that's something Patrick and I can explore as well. It's a good question.
Yeah.
But
it's a great question.
I'm speculating that even if you pause, it's just a simple sliding window. So even if you pause it, it's within that 24-hour period. So
yeah. Yep.
Nice. All right. So Hale. Let's see here. I want to create data marts by using data flows as my data source. However, I do not see any data flow listed in Power Query Data Mart within the workspace. Please assist. What could be the issue? What?
So I read that question.
Yeah.
I read that question earlier.
Good for you.
And while we were during the countdown, I created a data flow. I pulled the data in the data flow. I created a data mart.
Yeah.
I created a data mart.
Was it data flow Gen 1 or Gen 2?
Gen 1.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do Gen 2.
Okay.
I can't believe you brought up Gen 2.
Just continue.
Okay. So I created the data flow, and then I opened up the data mart, and I chose get data, and there was the data flow, and I brought the data flow into my data mart. Is he saying he can't see it?
Yeah, that's what he said. So like if you go into the data mart and you go to the get data, it should be listed there.
Show my screen. Right. Can you go to
wait,
my laptop?
That's not how you say it.
Oh, enough of all this talking. Head over to my laptop. All right. I haven't done this in a while, man.
I know, you're rusty. Okay.
All right. So here's my data mart that I created. If I click, so my data mart's called all my employees, right? So if I choose get data here.
Because you have so many.
Right, yeah. So if I just
I see it right there. I saw it already. It was there.
Right. There's data flows. There's all types of data flows, right? I click data flows, click next. And then there's my environment.
It is a bit small, Kevin. I do agree.
Oh, okay. And but here's the workspace.
Matthew said he can see those.
In that
so
workspace. Good. Yeah. And here's my data flow. And then I just chose the data flow and click it. And then I'm not going to do it again because I already brought this one in. But if I click transform data, it lands that into my workspace, into my data mart.
Nice.
So I'm not sure what.
Yeah, it works. Yeah. So hell, it'd be good. Maybe I don't know what you're seeing. But Daryl said Gen 2. I don't know. Yeah.
Gen 2 is part of the fabric. So
he says I don't see it. He says, I don't see the list. What does that mean by don't see the list? So you go to get data, you don't see anything?
So if I choose get data.
Oh, I know what he's saying. Oh, no, what he's saying is if he goes to data flows, there's a list for the data flows. He's saying he doesn't see that. And so that could be a permission thing.
No.
Like, I don't know if you're doing them, if the data flow and the data mart are in the same workspace or if they're in different workspaces. Do you have access to the data flow? That could be an access thing, potentially. It could also be... I'm trying to think if like there's some premium things that could cause a mix there because data marts requires premium.
Data marts do require premium, but data flows don't. Certain features require premium.
It would be interesting if, and I don't know if there may be some like PPU things coming into play. Like there could be other things there that are preventing it from showing up in the list. So I would go through and verify all of that. It should show up assuming all the access and licensing requirements are all good. So that's what I would go look at. So that's what you're missing. So, look at Patrick muting himself. I even heard that. I'm guessing it was the garage door. Yeah. All right. So Ray, I see you had a question here. I'm going to ask you to, when we get to the member, because you became a member, go ahead and resubmit that once we get to the member only section, and I'll make sure I grab it. So let's go to Cody. In an org, how are people accessing Power BI apps more often? The service, browser favorites, teams? Will Fabric introduce new report distribution concepts? So I haven't actually seen numbers around like how people are accessing the apps themselves. I can tell you just from the way I do it. Typically, honestly, the way I access content, because there's like a few bits of content I access during my day job that I use regularly. And honestly, they're just, when I go to just the portal in general, like they're just in the most recent list, like right in front of my face on the homepage. So I just click it there. That includes apps, that includes individual reports. If I've favorited the app, so ones that I usually hit often, I favorite them. And then if it's not in the recent list, I go to my favorites. It's rare that I actually go to the app picker list. So yeah. In terms of Fabric, I'm not aware of any new distribution concepts coming in. I mean, those are from a Power BI perspective, in terms of distributing reports and whatnot, apps are still kind of the wide distribution method. So, yep. Anything to add there?
Oh, no. I just favorite the ones. Mine are in the favorite list. That's it.
See Chris's comment about the developer mode, and Matthew said, that's when we learn he doesn't read the blog. He's like, busted. That happens every once in a while when people come on. It's like, oh man, I watch all your videos, and then they ask a question, and I'm like, I did a video on that.
You don't watch the video.
You didn't watch the video. So,
That's me.
It's okay.
I don't even watch most of my videos. So.
I know. I'm amazed that I remember we did a video on that. All right, Sandy. Is it correct that structured data in OneLake is stored in Parquet files? Yes, that is a true statement. If so, is it efficient as compared to storing data in RDBMS, so relational databases? Yeah. Will SQL Server be available in Fabric? Ooh, there's a bunch of stuff to unpack there. So I'm going to start with the SQL Server in Fabric.
I don't know.
So I don't know. Can't really comment on that one. In terms of Parquet, like, is it as efficient as DB? That's an it depends right there. That is an absolute it depends. So Chris, I would say in general, yes, it's probably going to be, but it depends on your data structure. Like, what are your query pattern? Like, what are you doing? But also I would add that, look, SQL Server, we just recorded a video with Bob Ward that's going to come out week after next, where he shows that we can leverage Parquet stuff with SQL Server and then bring that back into Fabric. So, like, through shortcuts. So it's amazing. Yeah.
So someone beat me to Mim. Thank you, Mim. Mim and I are on, like, these past couple of weeks. We've been on the same wavelength. Do not use Parquet files for OLTP. Yeah. Don't do that, because you got to understand, especially if it's Delta, you got to understand how you're updating and inserting into these Parquets. It's got to recopy, and if you're not using them, let's say you have this huge Parquet file that's 75 gigs, and you do an update to that file, at least in Fabric right now, it's gonna like recopy that entire 75 gigs, and don't use it for OLTP. For analytical solutions, that's why the Fabric was created. It's great. I did say the Fabric. That's why the Fabric was created with the
Patrick
OneLake.
says the
right?
Fabric,
So
not Fabric.
that's why it was created. And if you create and you're using Parquet, especially with Delta, but you got to make sure you structure those files properly. And we'll have videos on this. I've been talking to Phil Seamark a lot about this, and I'm going to get Phil to come on and talk about some things he's doing.
The thing I'll say where it depends, and I agree with everything you're saying. I agree with Mim's comment. But where I would put this in the context of, like, look, if you're using your SQL Server as more of like your data warehouse approach, right? So you're not using data warehousing. You're just saying, I just want to do read operations. The Parquet stuff is potentially going to be faster than that. But if you're doing actual transaction stuff, yes, you don't want to do Parquet for that. So that's where I'm coming at it from, and it depends. Is if we're just looking at comparing strict read operations from like a factor dimension or whatever, like
So Adam just wanted me to stop talking, pretty much, because I would have talked for a long time. So let's go into the next one.
Matthias approves of your of the Fabric. It's like the
Fabric.
Batman.
It's the Fabric.
The guy in a cube. Well, that's why I started saying I say the Patrick now instead of Patrick.
The Patrick.
So the Patrick. All right. There was a super chat from Jarrell. Thank you so much for the super chat. Super chats always take priority, so we're going to skip the list here. What we got? I'm charged with introducing my team to Fabric. We're strictly a bunch of Power BI devs with pro licenses and the ability to create premium workspaces. Yeah, might have gotten cut off there. So he had a second part. It was like embed codes. Most of the data is just T-SQL, few Excel fields. Fabric seems to involve a ton of things we don't use as a team. How do I find out and explain how Fabric will affect us? So this is the journey right now, right? It's understanding what is Fabric and how does that translate into what our operations are. So it gives you other options, right? So if we start thinking about large data warehousing, things of that nature, when you've looked at what Spark does, or comparing it to like what Azure Synapse Analytics did from like a serverless operation or data warehousing operation, like that's where some of the new workloads are coming in. The beauty of it though, and Patrick and I have heard comments too of like, well, you just move things into a new portal. No, it's way more than that. And the reason for that is the OneLake concept and this idea of one copy and this ability that the different analytical engines that are in Fabric, when we think of Power BI, when we think of Lakehouse and the Spark engine, when we think of data warehousing, they're all leveraging the same copy of the data. So that's a huge difference from what these services were doing before. So so that's
Yeah.
That's kind of the big clincher. Now, whether or not, like, if you're just, a small shop, or you're just doing just business analytics and you're like used to importing some data from a couple of Excel spreadsheets, do you need all of that stuff? I don't know. That might be a lot of overhead for you. But the options are there for you to leverage that. And so that's where you need to start thinking about more of a data architecture aspect of this, instead of just straight, like, I'm coming from Excel and trying to do some quick analytics on top of it. That's where I would go with that. There is some documentation. There's tons of different folks that are giving opinions on, like, what is Fabric. With the build sessions are there. Those are available. They're on demand. They're also here on the Guy in a Cube channel. You can leverage those as well. So definitely check out that content and reuse it to help explain it. So in terms of whether or not you should be using it, and will it affect you, I'm going to go with it depends. So depends on what your operations are. So hope that helps you, Jerome. And thank you for the super chat. Okay. How are we doing on time? We got a few more minutes. Let's go.
Free
Sandeep. What was that in reference to? I don't know what that was in reference
Matthew
to.
accidentally put him in timeout.
I don't know that you can undo that.
No. Matthew already. You missed it. You were talking.
Okay. I do see where. He hit it. Sometimes that happens when the chat's scrolling really fast. So, apologies, Sandeep.
Yeah.
Also, like, Sandeep had a question in the queue. So, Sandeep, in honor of you being put in timeout, let's answer your question. Is it correct that structured data in one lake? Oh no, we already answered that. Well, there you go. All right. Yeah, we already answered. Sorry. Well, look, you got a 2 for 1. There you go. All right. All right. Question here: can you back up and restore a Synapse data warehouse in Fabric? Can you do the same for a lakehouse? So I will say today there's no actual backup restore option from the service. So I'm thinking about in Fabric. So if you create the data warehouse in Fabric, like, that's not an option, but the data is all in one lake, which you could access through you could back up the Parquet files and the structure there, and then you could restore it. So that's an option.
So if you have the schema, and so if you use the notebook to build your schema out, notebook. If you have a notebook, then you just rerun it. Now, I know it's not trivial. That's not trivial. Just rerunning and recreating your lakehouse or your data warehouse. But I mean, you can't.
No, and that's I would also add that if that is important to you, or if you feel like you need that, then I will put a chat or an item in the chat to go submit your idea and vote it up. So if that's something important. So I don't know what's planned after GA or what's going to come with GA. So maybe that's something the team's thinking about. I haven't heard anything specific around that, but yeah.
That's a good one.
Cool. All right. So I saw we are at time. Chatmaster C is clearing the queue. There were still a bunch of questions in there. Apologies for that. We didn't get to all of them. We never get to all of them. If you do have a burning question we didn't get to, please use the super chat to get it past the queue, even as we go into member only mode. At the halfway mark, we do go into member only mode, where only members and moderators can participate in the chat. And so everyone can still watch the chat and learn the knowledge, everyone can watch the live stream and learn the knowledge on the stream itself, but the chat will only be for members and moderators. If you do want to learn more about being a member, I'll drop the link again. You can go check out that link or hit the join button down below to learn more. But super chats always take priority, even when we're in member only mode. So with that, let's cut over to member only mode. All right. And also, one of the benefits of being a member is you can pre-submit questions if you're at the visitor or producer tier, and we have 2 today. So we're going to go, hopefully this works. So first up is going to be, let me get rid of that first. First up is going to be from Christina. So Christina asked, My company sends people out on the road to do jobs, and we manually count if someone had more than 20 nights away from home over a 30-day window, so we can ensure that we get a week at home. My hope is to create a report that shows this rolling count so we can make decisions more easily. I've set up calculating the total days, but what I want to do is show in a graph the total number of days in the last 30-day week so in the last 30 days, week over week, this would look into the past as well as show into the future. I created a sanitized, she did say that she created a sanitized Power BI desktop file for use, has no identifying information. Excellent. All right. Patrick.
So first, let's apologize to her because it took us so long to get back to answer, and then I sat down and I didn't test the performance of this, Christina. So I hope it's fine. I just kind of opened up DAX Studio and typed it out. So I hope this performs well. Let me show you. Head to my laptop. Enough while we're talking at him. Head to my laptop.
While you're setting this up, though, I do see the hearts on the screen. Carrie asked, "How do you shut off those hearts that are coming up like reaction stuff?" It's a new beta feature in YouTube. I don't know yet, so I apologize for that. So it's good feedback, though. I will actually go back to our YouTube partner manager and give that feedback as well. So cool. All right, Patrick, go.
So I honestly started by using dates between, but can't use dates between because I needed to control the equality on each side of the measure. And so she had already provided a days away measure. So I just reused her days away measure. I didn't go look at what the definition of it was. I used a variable to grab the last date of week start because she wants to do this by week. And so that's where I started. And then I used her measure, and then I did a filter I said start 30 days ago all the way up to one day before the last day, and I sent her that DAX, and then she sent us an email back that said we were her hero, and I was so happy that I got this done. Christina, when I have some time, I'll go look and see if I can get rid of this filter and optimize the DAX and make it faster. But if this works for you and it performs, that was it. Spent a little bit, and again, apologies for taking so long to get back to you. There you go.
Can you show the chart?
She sent us a beautiful one. That's all right. Here's hers. And so I'll just take it, and I don't know how to use this on object that well.
Because you didn't watch my video.
I did not. There we go. There we go. So now you can see, when somebody reaches that threshold, she can easily see by week when they're hitting, those thresholds for the week. And it goes back 30 days for each one of the totals. So, yeah.
Nice.
Just works. Yeah.
All right. Cool. So Donald, I do see your super chat. I want to get the other pre-submitted question first, and then we'll roll to yours. All right, the next one, and this is Pat. You're going to see a little excitement from Patrick on this one. I'm just going to prepare you for what is to come. Let's roll it. All right. So Mark asks, as I venture more into Fabric, something I'd love to work through is an example that lets me take a JSON string with nested objects, so order header and then item details, and flatten this using Spark in a notebook into a Power BI data source. I've been working with a very small text example and can't seem to land on the PySpark that would let me produce this table. He sent us a short example of that as well. So Patrick, Mr. Python, the Patrick.
Hey, the Patrick.
The Patrick.
So Adam, the Patrick went to the Fabric. Okay.
And use the capability that was mentioned. And I'll add, so this new capability, I'll let Patrick say the name here in a minute of what this capability is. But we saw it. It was in Nellie's session that was in the build thing. She did talk about it. I was at the MVP Summit too, and she went into it a little bit. Spent a minute or two. There was a fire hose of information there, so there was a lot of info. And so she couldn't really spend a lot of time on it. But when I saw it, it didn't click in my head as to the real capability of this feature. But we were enlightened, and it was amazing. Yeah. So, all right, Patrick.
Yeah. So before we go, big shout out to Alex Powers for pointing me down this path, because I would have never gone down this path.
Oh yeah.
So let me show you. So let's head to my laptop. So for everyone that hadn't seen the fabric, here's the fabric. Down in the bottom left corner, if you click this icon, it'll bring you to the landing page, and you can choose right there. If you click that icon down in the left corner, you can click Microsoft Fabric, and it'll bring you to the landing page. And this is where you choose your path, right? This is where you choose your path, Adam. And so then we'll go to Synapse Data Engineering, because that's where I can go write my Python at. So I'll choose my path, and then I'm going to select the workspace. I already have my workspace selected for the Fabric Playground. I've created a little playground where I'm going to go and break stuff and test stuff. And so I wrote a little Python, and you can see I created a lake house, and here's a lake house explorer, and I took the JSON that was sent and I just uploaded it into the file section of my lake house. And what's interesting is when I click here, you can actually just click on it and say load the data into a pandas data frame. It'll write the code for you, and you don't have to do anything. It'll write the code. So it wrote this little code for me. But what I wanted was I needed to parse it out and flatten the data out into a table. And so what I did, and I was showing this to Alex, and so I used this pandas right here. If you hover, it'll tell you, right? Pandas is the most powerful data analyst and library in Python. So I imported this and I wrote some code. And then I was showing it to Alex, and Alex said, well, Patrick, why didn't you use the data wrangler? And I was like, data wrangler?
From now on, referred to as just the Wrangler.
The Wrangler.
The Wrangler.
But I was like, what is this? What is this technology that you speak of, Mr. Alex Powers? And he's like, do this, Patrick. Let's head back to my laptop. All right. And so when I'm going to run this right here, I'm going to run this little piece of code. So I'm going to run this code, and it takes about, when you're using the notebooks in the Wrangler, in the Fabric, it takes about 8 seconds for your Spark cluster to spin up, which is really fast, 8 to 10 seconds. So you can see my Spark session has already started, and this data frame is loaded. So you need to load the data into a pandas data frame, which I've done. And Alex was like, go click on data. So I clicked on data, and then I saw this thing, launch, because everybody's going to complain because they can't see it, especially Adam.
Yeah.
Launch data wrangler.
We need to get them to change that and just says launch the Wrangler. Get rid of the TA on data.
Right? Launch the Wrangler. And you click it, and it's going to find all those pandas data frame, and mine is called the JSON, right? It's called the JSON. So I click on it, and it opens the Wrangler. And so for everyone that's used Power Query, and that's probably all of us on this stream, think about what Power Query does behind the scenes. Every time you click and transform and do something with the Power Query, it generates M. So the Wrangler, watch what the Wrangler does. So the first thing I wanted to do to this thing was get rid of some columns. So if I choose schema, choose drop columns, go select the columns that I don't want in my list, right? And click apply, the Wrangler generates some Python for me.
Chris Jones just commented the same exact thing I said. I'm like, wait, this is Power Query.
No, it's not. It's the Wrangler. It generated the Python for me, and it tracked all the steps just like Power Query. I can continue to massage and manipulate and transform my data, Adam. But Alex introduced us some people on the team. We're like, hey, and they're like, hey, back, let's do this. And we gave them some feedback. This thing is bananas.
This blew up our day when
this
we were going through this.
Blew up right there. This thing blew up right there. And so, Kevin, the one thing that we gave some feedback on, there needs to be a close and apply. There needs to be. You
need to close the loop and be able to write that data back into the lakehouse.
This is amazing.
Now,
this is amazing.
Now there
this also works in VS Code. Too.
So Patrick, I'm going back to your screen here real quick. So there is an option there that says add code to notebook. So that allows you to add it back, but it's still not going to write it back into the lakehouse. So you got to write a couple extra steps. And when we talked about that, they're like, hey, this would be a good idea to, do this approach. And I'm like, okay, but what we're thinking of here is coming from a context of like your average Power BI user that doesn't know Python. I'm like, they're not going to know what code to write there to actually write it back to the lake. So it'd be cool if you could just inject that. The other thing,
stay on my screen.
Sorry.
Yeah. So somebody asked one more question. I just want to say one more thing. So think about this, right? So now what I want to do is I want to do some deduping. So I'm going to dedupe. I'm just doing this to show one thing. Somebody asked the question, can you view all the code, right? So can I view all the code at once? Down at the bottom, it says preview code for all steps. So boom, right? Here's all the code for all the steps that I wrote. So that's the advanced editor. That's the advanced editor for Power Query right there. It's phenomenal. Stay tuned.
And if you
Stay
did
tuned for the
add
videos.
code, if you did add code to Notebook, that's the code it would go add to a block in the Notebook.
That's right.
So
yeah, Laura, stay tuned for the videos.
So you talk about Data Wrangler, but we didn't actually answer the question about the flattening.
So what I did, go back to my screen one more time.
saying.
Go back to my screen one more
See, this is what I meant. Patrick's gonna get excited here and just go off the rails.
What I did was, when I imported the pandas library, so I uploaded the JSON file, and I had to figure out how to pull the JSON in. Can you? Look at that! Look at that! Control scroll. So I imported it in, and then there is a method inside of the pandas library that has a JSON normalize in it, and so I can start at whichever level in the path of the JSON that I wanted, and then add the additional attributes that I want, and then it'll read that in, and I convert it to a Spark data frame because I just know more about the Spark Python than working with pandas, and then it produced my tables, but I continued to clean it up. But what was really interesting is when I used the Wrangler, all the code that I spent a couple of hours trying to figure out, the Wrangler actually produced that code for me, and then I was able to create an item table and order tables just like what was requested. So there you go.
So to be clear, the Data Wrangler itself didn't allow you to do the flattening of the table.
No, it did not. I had to write a little code for that, but
we talked to the feature PM, and we gave that, and he said it was okay for me to say this. He said they are. It's actually the ability to flatten, so an actual action to flatten the JSON is planned and will be coming out soon. So stay tuned on that. So they're actively improving this. Also, I know you're going to go off, but I want to say this before because we're going to go off the rails on that. Also, they're doing a lot of AI investments here. So like when you think about from examples, like that's something as well. And so that's something they're working on as part of that. And we were able to do like a column by example in Data Wrangler. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So
all right. Post Carrie's. Put up Carrie's message there. But I don't know what I'm excited about.
You're excited about the Wrangler.
The Wrangler.
The Wrangler.
You're excited about the Wrangler.
Yes. And so if everyone can go on Twitter and just like, oh my God, this hashtag Data Wrangler thing in Microsoft Fabric is amazing. Go tweet about that because like we want and look, you can do this in VS Code. You can do it inside of Fabric. You can do it in VS Code without any it'll just work. Like it's amazing. Yeah. So Patrick's voice is 3 octaves higher. Ugh. It was like 10 octaves higher when we did this. I think it was Thursday we were going through this. So it was
Wrangler's great.
Yeah, Leslie, soon. It's coming. Yeah. Duh Wrangler. Kevin got it right. Yeah. Duh Wrangler.
It's great.
Wrangler.
Okay, Adam. All right.
All right. So that was Data Wrangler. So this is also an example of something I just overlooked with all the announcements for Fabric. I knew it was there, but I was like, it's just doing like a profiling thing. Like that's not really much interest to me. But going through this, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it's an example of I'm learning nuggets. And I've been involved with the Fabric stuff for, you got me saying the Fabric now too. Like Patrick and I have been involved with this for a while, and I'm still learning nuggets of new things that you can do with this. So we're gonna keep sharing the info. It's a journey. It's a learning journey. So we'll all be in it together.
Yeah.
So all right.
Yeah.
Whew. Now on to Donald's super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Donald. In direct lake mode, it seems the data is not refreshed automatically unless you refresh the data set. Is this a bug or is it by design? This was from Mim. So I did see Mim asked it on the open chat side of it. So do you want to comment on that?
Well, so talking to Phil C. Mark, this is it's designed this way, and Phil had presented to us about this. There's some concepts, and I don't know if I'm at liberty to talk about these concepts here on the live stream.
I would say no.
I'm gonna defer right now. I'm not going to talk about it, but yes, right now you refresh the data set. But remember, with direct lake mode, it's not pulling the data in. So think about that for a second. It's not importing the data into the data set. And the refresh, Donald, right? And Mim, the refresh shouldn't take too long, right? It shouldn't take too long. So once we know whether or not we can talk about it, we'll give you all.
We'll
the
do
details
videos on
it.
Direct Lake.
And
I'll look. Fabric's in public preview right now. Notice how I didn't say the Fabric. Fabric's in public preview right now. So, like, based on user usage, telemetry, all these things, they're fine tuning things, right? They're figuring out, hey, where do we need to put investments? How do we need to optimize certain things? And so we'll see things for Direct Lake and other items that will improve. And so stay tuned on it, and we'll keep you posted as those things evolve. All right. I'm allowed to say, as long as you say allegedly before you tell us. Like, yeah, sometimes that doesn't work. I mean, it's just on this stream, right? No one else is going to know about it. It's fine.
No one else is going to know.
No one else is going to know.
They're going to know. They're going to know. They're going to know.
Yes. All right. All right. Let's get Ray's question in here. Having a problem connecting Power BI service to old school on-prem SharePoint. Ooh, desktop connects fine, but I keep getting rejected when setting up the gateway. Any thoughts? So, it depends. I need more info than that. Like, I don't know what the error is. I don't know so some of this is going to have to do with the connection between the gateway machine and the SharePoint box. Like, can it actually? So from the gate, one thing I would do. Hopefully, the gateway is not on the SharePoint box. But what I would do is on the machine.
Why not just put it on there and enable Kerberos. Set up your SPNs and it'll all work.
Actually, Kerberos may need to be enabled for this to work. It depends on the error. That's what I'm saying. If you're getting a 401 unauthorized, that's a curb error. So, we got to go down that path. But this should just be a single hop. So you shouldn't need Kerberos for this. NTLM should work fine. But it also depends on how you have SharePoint configured. Because on-prem SharePoint, you can say, like, I just want Kerberos. And then you got to go set all that up. So what's the error? The error is going to help point you in the direction. Yes. It's like Kerberos. It just works. Yes, I agree. So if you are seeing a 401 unauthorized, and you may have to go even look in the SharePoint logs for this too. I don't know what's going to be coming back to the gateway, but 401 unauthorized, my spidey sense tingles and starts going down the Kerberos route. So you may have to do that. So, but what I would also test is from the gateway machine. If you open the browser on the gateway machine, can you get to SharePoint? Like, does that even work? Because if that doesn't work, you got to go fix that first. And then figure out what the error is from the gateway. So
that's a good point.
All right, Ray. If I see more info come, I haven't seen any more info in the chat, so let us know. All right. Okay, not that. Let's see here. Let's go to Daryl. Daryl's got a question. If I set up an F4 SKU on pay-as-you-go basis, do I need to pause and resume when it runs over a 15-minute pipeline each day? When it runs one... Okay. So, if all you're doing on this Fabric SKU is running a pipeline, you're not doing anything else, do I need to pause and resume it when I run that pipeline? So, it depends. One is you could do that. However, just know that the workspace that this pipeline is in is backed by that capacity. And so if you pause that Fabric capacity, nothing else in that workspace is really going to process. So think about that. I don't know if the pipeline's the only thing in this. I doubt it, because it's probably pumping into a lake house or warehouse. And so those lake houses or warehouses would not run at that point. Patrick, you were going to say something. Yeah.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's the thing to understand is anything in that workspace or if the lake house and warehouse are in a different workspace, but are also on that F4 SKU capacity, like you pausing the capacity means those won't run. I would look at that. So chances are that's not going to work for you. Technically, yes. If you want to turn it on, run the pipeline, and then pause it, yeah, the pipeline will be good, and you're not going to be able to run anything else. But if that's all you need, then you're good to go. So
I think they mean, do they need to pause it, or will it auto realize that only the pipeline is used? So there's no auto.
There's no auto.
when it's idle, it doesn't stop. Good point. That's a good point, Heidi.
Yeah.
So it doesn't know to say, oh, nobody's doing anything, I'm going to pause. So you gotta
do that. You can automate it. You can automate the like through ARM scripts and stuff like that in terms of pausing and resuming. But it's from within Fabric itself. Like that's not gonna automatically like re-enable it when you go to hit a resource. You'll get a friendly error message that says, hey, your capacity is not running. Yeah,
I forgot what we were laughing with Heidi about at the MVP summit. I can't remember, but it was really funny. It was really funny. Anyway, thank you, Heidi, for offering that clarity to us, because neither one of us got that out of that. So thank you.
Heidi says I think they're comparing to Azure Data Factory. So I mean it's different in this case. So the capacity is the compute. I would say this: if you're using Data Factory, you don't have to worry about it, because she's right. You can land it to your ADLs into create a shortcut in Fabric, but that SKU still needs to be up, to Adam's point. So and so that's my thing is like, what are you using? Like, what's the downstream of this pipeline? And so if you're actually doing it from a lakehouse or warehouse, like that needs the capacity also. So now the other thing too is in that workspace where that pipeline is. Any workspace that's bound to that capacity needs that capacity up to be able to run. Even if it's a Power BI data set, like that data set won't run unless the capacity is running if that workspace is bound to the capacity. So think about that. Like it just depends.
So look at Chris Finland just had a good point.
I know.
As long as that thing. Yeah. Okay.
Well, and Chris's point, like, and that's the reason why they're pausing it too, right? Is they want to limit cost. But the problem with the limiting the cost is that you also can't run the resources. So what resources are on this? What workspaces are assigned to it? Yep. Cool. All right. Where did it go? Wow. Let's go back to the queue. Chris has a question. In Power BI Direct Lake mode, I don't see an option to create calculated columns on datasets. Yeah, it's a limitation right now. Am I doing it wrong, or is that expected? That's expected. You can't. That's one of the limitations right now for Direct Lake. So go to.
Wait.
Oh, yeah. Chris said he already answered that.
But what's great, I saw Chris answer it, but what's great though, Chris, is if you're building your process in your warehouse or your lake house, do it as far upstream as possible, right? Yes. Write some T-SQL or write some Python or something like that to create that calculated column.
Yeah. And Mark Walter said, I hear that's in the plan. I personally haven't heard that, but maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Go to ideas.fabric.microsoft.com and or hit the link I put in the chat and make sure you vote it up. I'm sure it's in there. If not, add it. All right, Tom. Let's see here. What's the best way to write a DAX measure to calculate how many more Stanley Cups the Vegas Golden Knights are going to win in a row? It stays in Vegas. Nice. Go Sports?
Go Sports. Hey, you need some AI for that, Tom.
You need some AI, yeah. Wait for Copilot. Wait for Copilot.
Chris is not possible.
Matthew.
What did Matthew say?
He said, can't you just hard code that to 0? Ouch.
Okay.
I'm not a sports. Patrick's a sports person. I'm not a sports person. So
they just won, right? So everybody wants to know if they're going to repeat.
I will say we did watch. We were at when we were up in Redmond. We did watch a hockey. So it was the Stars versus the Krakens. I don't know that I wanted to bring that story up because there was an incident that I had where Patrick gave me the look of what? What'd you just say?
No, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Please don't talk about that. We'll talk about that when we're together with lots of people in person. I gotta save that story. Oh no.
It was an Adam moment.
It was such a sad moment.
So, but
it was such a sad moment.
I'm from Texas, and so I was texting Bob Ward, and he was going off on the Stars, and so I was like, everyone's wearing the Kraken shirts, and I'm just like, go Stars! I'm like cheering when the Stars scored.
Oh
And
my God! Just like oblivious.
everyone's looking at me.
It was-
yeah, it was that guy. All right, Mark, a question. Patrick, love the Learn material. I'd love to upskill my Power BI skills with PySpark and notebooks. Any books, resources you would recommend to dig in deeper? Ooh, we should do a video on that. Like just pull together some resources to help people. I'm gonna do a video on that. I'm gonna do a video on that. Stay tuned, Mark. I'm sure there's a lot of great resources. I'll say right now we haven't really dug into that aspect of it. So I'm on a mission. I will go figure it out just for you, Mark.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Yep.
Love it. And obviously, like chat, like if you know of resources, drop them in the chat. Help Mark out. Laura, notebook everything. For newbies to notebooks, where do we start? Same thing, right? So we're gonna. So the way you start is you create new notebook in Fabric, and then.
But to be honest with you,
start with Data Wrangler. It's going to write the Python for you.
You took the words out of my mouth.
Start with the Wrangler. Start with the Wrangler. Oh my gosh. Yeah, start with the Wrangler. There you go. Kevin did it. Kevin said it too. Start with the Wrangler.
Yeah.
Hashtag the Wrangler. Put that. Go on Twitter, Laura. Say like I'm starting with the Wrangler to learn notebooks. Put that. Also, what was Austin's Twitter handle? Hang on. Because we gotta ping Austin. He's got to see the love here. No, stop it, Twitter. Austin, hang on. I can't find his. Dang it! Do you remember his?
Of course not.
You're the Twitter guy.
Yeah. Yes.
Here it is.
Yes,
Austin. I got it. Hang on. If you can ping. Include. There you go.
Clicky.
All right.
Clicky.
I know. All right. Sorry. So in the chat, I put his Twitter handle. So if you do a tweet on DeWrangler, like include Austin on that.
Please.
He will laugh.
Henley.
He will.
Yeah.
We told him we were going to talk about it today, so that'll be hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and then Laura, stay tuned. Also, we'll put a video together on like how to start with notebooks, and maybe we'll ask Justina also. Like maybe we'll do a video with Justina on it.
That'd be good.
All right, Damu, how you doing, Damu? Is the data residency or country specific same for both Power BI and Azure? So I'm guessing from a capacity perspective, yes. So you can specify which data region you want for the capacity when you spin up a Fabric capacity. So the multi-geo that you're familiar with Power BI premium capacities is the same for Fabric capacities. So, yep, same thing. So. Matthew said, yeah. So Matthew added some sage wisdom. So search for samples and examples. Start small. I'll also say Patrick's gonna cringe when I say this, but go to ChatGPT also. Like it'll help you out. So I know, but just make
course. But we have a course that I'm going through right now.
From Advancing Analytics.
Yeah, from Advancing Analytics.
Simon Whiteley.
So,
yeah, they've got a course.
yeah,
if you want to pay for it.
He's got a great. But then his YouTube, he's got great stuff.
Oh yeah.
On
His channel
YouTube.
is. I don't know, Alex, if you're still in the chat. Hey, Alex, if you can drop Simon Whiteley's YouTube channel in the chat.
Yeah.
I will say, if you do go the ChatGPT route, just make sure you validate and like test and compare. Sometimes it's not completely. Don't take it at face value.
Negative about ChatGPT.
No, it's still amazing.
Negative about
it's still amazing. All right.
Jesus.
Jay Murphy. And I just looked at, we're up against the clock, but we're going to get Jay Murphy's question in here. All right. Is there a best practice guide for moving from Google Data Studio from Power BI Desktop and then to the service? No, not that I'm aware of. So, I mean, there's no migration thing. So I'm like, you've got to recreate it in Power BI Desktop. So what?
Yeah. Just got to start from scratch.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to rebuild it. So the question there is, what did you do in Google Data Studio? And then as you learn about Power BI Desktop and Power Query and those things, how do you translate that? So you're going to have to map that yourself. I'm not personally aware of anything there. So, yep. I do a search on it. I just honestly, I know they're out there. I don't know anyone personally that uses Google Data Studio. Now I know that you use it, Jay Murphy. So
I'm going to look at it right now.
yeah. Are you really?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Use it for free. Your data is beautiful. Use it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. We are at time. There were still a bunch of questions in the chat, so apologies we didn't get to it. Come back next week. We'll do it again, and you'll be here next week, Patrick.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
We had to think about that. Yes. All right. And I'd be happy to go a little bit longer, but it's Chatmaster C's birthday, so we got to go do stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do that. Patrick. Any words of wisdom?
Hey, remember you have time off. Take it. I'm taking 2 weeks coming up. Remember, right? Your job gives you time off. Take that time off, Adam.
Take it off. Yes.
Take your time off. That's why they give it to you.
I'm bad about that. But that is good advice.
Most of us are, right? Yeah. Most of us are bad about taking it.
I will say I do appreciate our coworkers and friends in Europe. They are much better about that than we are.
Yeah.
So yes,
and
absolutely.
happy birthday, Crystal. Happy
birthday, Crystal. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much again. The Wrangler on Twitter. Include Austin. We would appreciate that. Show the love. And check it out also. Check it out. It's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you on the interwebs. We'll see you next week. Bye.
'Cause every time the push comes too sharp, I'm climbing over you to reach the top. 'Cause I want everything and nothing at all. Yeah, I want everything and nothing at all. 'Cause I want everything and nothing at all. Don't care